is a review of this helmet. It's one of the Spangenhelm nasal helms available from GDFB. And then I have this old clunker to compare it to. So I'll just start out with the weights and size and stuff. This one is the medium. It is pretty small, for me anyway. It does fit on my head, but you know, there's no movement at all. There's no way I can put the hood underneath, which I wear with this. If I tried that, it really just wedges on and it doesn't fit properly. And if I try to force it down, it hurts quite a bit, so not going to do that. So the medium is truly a medium. This one is definitely the large. You can kind of see the size difference. There's a lot more room in the large sizes. This one, it's a 24 1/4 circumference, and I think the large is a 25 1/2, so it actually goes up quite a bit. The website that my friend bought this from, says that it weighs 5.5 pounds. I weighed it, and my scale says that both of these helmets are about 4 pounds, despite the size difference. They are both actually made of 14 gauge, or not 14 gauge, 16 gauge, sorry. Which you can definitely tell. I don't know if you can see that. Right in there, there's this fairly large dent that was actually caused by a pommel strike. Sort of like a one-handed version of Mortschlag. That actually happened yesterday. And that's kind of just an indication of anybody who thinks that it's safe to fight in an 18 gauge helmet are kidding themselves. That was a very, very light hit that I did, but it just dented the helmet the way that it did there. So definitely get something that'll protect your noggin. So overall construction of it, it's the same as it's always sort of been with the, you can't really see it on the inside, but it's the same as this one, where the two halves are welded together. If I angle that a little bit, maybe, yeah. Right. Two halves are welded together on the inside, and then the strapping is added to the outside to reinforce the weld here, and then also give the look of the Spangenhelm construction their side, as well as the rim being welded at the bottom to the helmet. Same as all the other GDFB helmets that I've reviewed. The difference between the older style and this one is that the straps are one continuous piece, which may or may not be nice. I don't think it really matters excuse me, too much for a cheap replica. I personally prefer them being individual straps. I believe that's more accurate to what originals would be like. The design of this is fairly attractive. I do like the almost Thor's hammer look of the nasal. Though I've never seen an authentic helmet that has that, but it's sort of they're all sort of a play on a few examples of helmets anyway. It is a very solid helmet. My friend, who has a head that's about the size of mine, bought this helmet specifically so that when he's wearing that big Nürnberg helmet, he has to wear a hat underneath it and all that stuff to pad it out so it actually stays on his head properly, and doesn't really like that. And for the summer, he prefers fighting in this because then he doesn't have to have all the extra layers. Myself, I prefer the hood because it does protect my neck against like abrasions. If somebody does misstrike me in the neck, it'll stop against the little burrs and stuff from actually cutting my neck. But some people prefer to not have to wear stuff underneath. This works really well, and he has a linen hood that he wears anyway that he can, if he wants to, put underneath. The only downside to that is with the liner being open so much, the liner is not actually supporting anything, and it's really just sitting on his head. So his head's right on the steel. So any deformation of the helmet in the event of some kind of a misstrike or whatever. We'll do that. One thing again that I've noticed is that GDFB's steel seems to have gotten softer. These are not heat treated; they're made of mild steel, but it all seems to be very soft. The construction is very nice. It's just sort of little fit and finish issues. All of the stuff that they've ground around the edges here is rough, which shouldn't cause too much of an issue. It's just sort of something to think about. Whereas in the older one, they actually took time to smooth it all out. The nasals are punched, so you end up with a little bit of an extra burr on the insides of these that they didn't seem to take care of on this one. There's actually a sharp burr that now needs to be filed off around the outside from where the punch went in and pushed this chunk of metal out. So that's something that if you buy one of these, you should really go over with a file and remove as much of the roughness as possible and these burrs. It's just no good. Now the liners are the same standard liner. They're held in, I believe, by rivets. I believe they're held in by some rivets, as well as being glued. At least that was the case in my. Archer's helm. This one actually, I don't feel any rivets around the outside except for maybe the two here holding it in. So it's actually just glued in the helmet. I don't particularly like that because if you have to do any modifications to any piece of it, or you want to drill out certain things to rivet on the pegs to put in an Aventail, you'll have to then re-glue that in. If you buy this, I would recommend doing that modification that I did in one of my latest videos, where I tore the leather liner out and I put in just a padded thing inside, so it just pads it on your helm, on your head. But if you do that, you're going to have to drill. If the straps aren't riveted in, you'll have to drill through, punch holes in your straps, and put it on. The hardware on the strap ends has changed from this old helmet that actually just basically has a regular belt end on it. These ones, it looks like it's made of bronze, and it's actually a shape that is a little more attractive and a little more period looking. It's the same split strap with split grain leather. They lined the straps with leather to match the liner, and then the outside is a darker color, more natural color, and then it has the cross part that is riveted into the helmet. The old straps were actually solid grain leather, which I prefer. They do get more supple than the split stuff, just because the oils and everything get into it, and the grain of the leather kind of breaks down a little. But they're just as strong, and they're also not susceptible to splitting apart as the split grain stuff. So I think with GDFB, quality kind of suffers, but you're making up for that with price. These are only about $90 US, or maybe 95. They're not really that expensive, and so if you're on a budget, I would go for something like this. If you want real quality, definitely go to another place, either one of the other manufacturers that make them with quality, or find a blacksmith that will make one for you, or an armorer that will make one for you. The other thing too that suffers with these is that this helmet, before, it was a decent polish. These ones, it looks like they went to It's just not getting cleaned up after that. But you know, he'll go over it with a rust eraser and it'll be perfectly fine. But it gets all scratched up and anything anyway. So, in my opinion, there's no point in polishing this kind of thing up anyway. If anything, I would apply some kind of a darkening agent to it, whether it's a bluing or a blacking, or even just putting warm vinegar on it to give it a darkened etch. Even that might be a good thing to do. That'll take away from the kind of machined look of it. But you know, if you're looking for if you're looking for quality, maybe go somewhere else. You sort of get what you pay for in this case. Is it a decent helmet for a beginner or somebody who's on a budget? Yeah, perfectly fine. Don't use it for anything that you're going to get hit in the head hard. The steel is soft and it's just 16 gauge. And you know, it is a pretty decent helmet. It does make you look the part. If you have a large head, get the large size. If you have a medium-sized head, get this one. If you have a very small head, this one might still do if you can get an arming cap or something. But keeping in mind, this will take a little bit to get up to a more usable condition. You just a little bit of file work to take off some of the stuff. So, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, don't hesitate to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you. So I guess it only took me about 5 minutes or so to file off the all the burrs and stuff on the back of that that was there from when it was made in the factory and everything. And yeah, it's only about 5 minutes time, and it gets up to an acceptable level. But what pisses me off the most when you have something like this that's made in an industrial factory, it would take a guy at the factory 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds at the most, before this gets riveted on. Guy with a wire wheel on a bench grinder, just buzz off that thing, send it to the get it shaped, send it to the guy with that spray can to do this. Like it's literally 15 seconds per piece to take the burrs off there. Maybe 30 seconds to take the burrs off around the outside. It's not that long, but for some reason they decided to skip that step.